Welcome back. Text fields are an essential component in any app because of their role in forms. Through them, the app fulfills its purpose, whether it's to gain registered users, make sales, get subscribers, and so on. On iOS, text fields come in all shapes and sizes. Let's start with this example from Slack. Here, the anatomy of the text field shows us two elements: the label, which is black, fairly small yet bold, and the placeholder, which is fairly big and it's shown in a medium grey. That's one way you can go about it. Book Me goes for a different route. Here we can see a 2-point rectangle defines the text field. There's no label because the hint is self-explanatory. As you begin to type, your letters are displayed in a darker text versus the placeholder. We also see the use of an icon on the right side to make it easier for the user to move forward. Doodle, on the other hand, goes for a web approach. The text field is a fully fledged rectangle that features a stroke. There's also a placeholder text, but again no label because it's not needed. You should include it only when clarifications are in order. Back to Slack for a second. In this screen, you're supposed to put in your email address. This is extremely obvious, so the label was dropped. You might say this isn't consistent, especially since these screens show up one after the other. Consistency is essential, yes, but that doesn't mean you have to include additional elements just for the sake of it. Thus, use labels sparingly. Back to Doodle. This isn't the way to go, especially on iOS. You could do so much better with a cleaner, more intuitive design. Just take a look at the difference in colour between the placeholder and my input. It's minimal. That's not what you want. As a side note, look at the contrast between this text layer and its base. Again, far from ideal. Here's another app that features a rectangle as a text field, but this one is better. One thing that's recommended is to include a clear button for your fields, just in case the user changes his mind. The symbol is usually an X or a trash can, and it's always placed on the right side. In this example, we have the same mistake. These two colours are very similar. It's not a huge deal, but it does improve the app's look when you do it right. Just have a look at Badoo's app. The part that's filled in is dark and bold, while the hint is very washed out. You can still easily read it, but this strong level of contrast makes the screen more visually pleasing. While we're here, notice the numeric keyboard shows up because this text field requires numbers. That's not something directly under your control, but in case you want to make your prototypes more lifelike, make sure you use the correct mockup. Next, here's a beautiful yet minimalistic registration process where the text field is composed out of a one-point line and ample negative space. Because this is the most important thing on this screen, the designer chose to leave an impressive 18 points between these two elements. This makes it airier, and in general, that's something to aim for. Let me show you one last case. This is from UpLabs, and it's something a tad more interesting. Notice how the label is integrated with the rectangle. We also have a nice light icon on the left, and I love the fact that it's given ample breathing room. Most designers tend to use a divider in this case, or maybe even a secondary rectangle for this part. That makes it busy and less appealing. The password field also has this lovely forgot text layer. This time, a divider is indeed required. The thickness of the stroke is also bang on. All these little bits are essential when you're dealing with text fields, but notice there's little in the way of iOS versus Android. Both platforms require an ample amount of attention when dealing with forms or text fields in general. Thus, my advice is you search the web and make a collection of fantastic-looking designs that you can analyze and use in your own projects. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's iOS, Android, or even web. For me, I have the following list: clarity or ease of use, visually appealing, simple to code. This last design checks all three boxes. Happy hunting! If you find some great ones, please share them in the comments section. I'd love to see some of your findings. Thanks.